So, hi, good afternoon. I wanted to show you a little project that we've been conducting over the last couple of weeks. It's pretty much almost finished. What it is, I know it doesn't look a lot, looks like a tube, an unusual shape, one at that, but what this is a very high-powered class 3 laser, has to be air-cooled, and this is what we're going to use for transmitting messages off Earth. And you know, at the moment, although we've lost a lot of our freedoms, at least we haven't lost the freedoms to actually build things like this. Not sure too much about how the law will respond to things like this being used. Obviously, one thing that we're going to have to keep our eye on is air traffic control, because you just live in the world, you know, where, you know, people say you could blind a pilot. So we have got a program that monitors air traffic control before we do any launches of any data out into space. It's a unique technology that I came across by mistake. I was messing about with looking into alternative methods of producing electricity, and was working with coils and things like that, and part of that technology has gone into this laser. That's how we modulate the laser, very similar to how you would receive fibre optic data through a line, only we're doing it through a laser beam, and that makes this directional only, in the direction obviously which it is pointing, and that will be aimed to the star constellation around Polaris. And the reason for that is we're trying to avoid you know, all the debris that exists in those like the Kuiper belt and the Oort belt within our solar system. These are like debris fields that surround, you know, our solar system, or within our solar system, and obviously we want to avoid hitting planets. The idea behind this is that you can put whatever message you want. The company that I've built this for will be doing 30-second messages, and obviously I get a little bit of a kickback from it. But we get 30-second messages, video or audio, it doesn't really matter, and we'll transmit them out into deep space. Now this laser, and all lasers by the way, obviously this one's a very high powered laser, this can cut steel by the way, so you definitely would not want to look in the beam pattern of this when it's switched on. They all emit photons, which are particles with almost zero mass. And I say almost zero mass because gravity can bend light, so they must have a certain amount of mass, even though it might be immeasurable. And that is what allows photons to travel you know, at the speed of light, uninterrupted, until they collide with something like interstellar gas, or a planet, or a sun, or anything out there that it could collide with. But you know, space is pretty much filled with emptiness. I know we're led to believe that that's dark matter now, but there's a lot of science, I believe, like, you know, what we know about the sun. I mean, the sun is one of the biggest photon emitters that we know of, and we believe that that is caused through nuclear fusion. And if you look into, you know, the technology of nuclear fusion and fusion reactors, they're struggling to get reactors to self-sustain longer than, you know, a couple of minutes. I mean, I don't even think they've reached a minute yet. But you know, and the other thing is they're being designed to be serviceable, and I'm not sure how long actually these components will last, and whether it will be economically viable at the end to produce fusion power. But photons, you know, do leave our sun at the photosphere level. That's where they leave the sun's gravity, apparently, and it takes around about 8 minutes at the speed of light to leave the photosphere of the sun to arrive on the surface of the Earth. So that gives you an idea of how fast photons travel. And lasers emit photons the same as the sun, not quite at the intense level, but we have over the years managed to, you know, concentrate it into a beam pattern, and it is the same as the sun's photons. You know, the sun's photons that don't collide with the sun's surface will travel for infinity until they do hit something, and it is exactly the same for laser beams, and especially laser beams in our case that are carrying, personal messages. Had quite a mixed response. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but it's a unique opportunity, and I think it's a good opportunity. The more I think about it, the more I come up with reasons why you'd want to transmit messages out into space. I mean, just a few off the top of my head. It might be an obituary for someone that you've just lost, and you want that message to travel to out into space for infinity. The thing is that the message that people send in this laser will last and still probably be travelling long after this Earth has come and gone, and our sun has supernovaed. According to science, that's what happens to all suns at their end of their life. So, your message will be still travelling long after you're dead, long after this planet is here and our sun is there. So it's an eternal message. And the more I think about it, why wouldn't you want to do it? Why wouldn't you want to leave a little something of yourself behind, or at least something that you did in those 30 seconds in that message that you transmitted out into space? And why wouldn't you want to do that? If you look at what our ancestors have tried to do to carry information into the future, they had to carve it into stone. With technology, we can do it in photons, and the photons will last a lot longer than stone. Fortunately, out in space, where there is very little things for it to collide with, unless it is specifically targeted at something. So, why would you want to do it? Okay, you could be an obituary, it could be you want to tell somebody you love them a lot, and there's the romantic side to it. You might want a confession, you might want to ask this universe, a question. We can get that out into space for you, with the technology that we've got today. There is a lot of reasons why people would want to do it. I think the main one is immortalising something about you, your thoughts today. Can you imagine if those thoughts were put into the data stream through the message that you made and then sent out into space forever? What other reasons would there be? It could be literally anything. We've talked about it a lot. There's a lot of reasons why you'd want to immortalise yourself, simply because the technology that we've got today. When we talk about cryonics, where you freeze things to sub-zero temperatures, you couldn't freeze yourself or any part of you. There are companies out there selling that. That would be in a physical condition to bring back to life at a later point in time. So we know that we've got a short space of time on this planet, and a lot of us want to make it last as long as we possibly can. We can't immortalise ourselves other than reproduction, and it's not like when we have kids that we're reincarnated into them when we pass away. So it is leaving something behind in this universe, a little bit of that conscious that you had whilst you was here, and sending it out into space. And who knows what will come of it. I mean, we've had this little bit of a fantasised conversation about if we look at the level of technology that we've had in the last 50 years. We've come a long way. Mobile phones, computers, lasers, transmitting now information with lasers. NASA, by the way, use laser beams now to transmit data up to the ISS. So we're not the only ones that have come up with this. It has been out and known by me at least for 4 years. It's just now that we've decided to put it into some formal practical application that people might choose to use. But by all means, lasers have been around for a long time. So yeah, what else did I want to talk about? I think we're lucky at this point. God knows how long it will last before we are no longer able or allowed to build our own electronics and devices and communication equipment before, you know, governments say for some reason you can't use it. The one thing that we was discussing was, do we need a broadcasting license for this? But the question is, who is going to receive it? And that goes back to that question about, you know, that topic of, you know, we've had technology for 50 years. Could you imagine if there was a race of people, and there will be, you know, the universe is just too big for this little accident to have happened, and you know my views on that. This is no accident. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that this Earth has been built and positioned in its place where it is, and that was by no means just mere coincidence of millions of planets forming around stars, and then just one happens to be the right distance away to have liquid water. Getting back to the point I wanted to talk about, there are civilizations out in our universe, beyond, maybe within our galaxy, maybe even beyond our galaxy. There may be even lots of them. Well, science suggests that there is in any case, that have had technology a lot longer than us and may detect that beam pattern, even though it is a very, very small possibility. But they may have super sensitive equipment that could detect those photons travelling out there, and if it was intercepted, they would definitely be able to recognise that it was a modulated beam carrying data, and they could uncompress that data and view it. But the other important thing is, at their level of technology, if they was able to do this, they would immediately know where that beam pattern came from, the direction it was travelling from, and how long ago that message had been sent. And who knows, they may have the technology to come back and trace it. So this could be like Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, which recently left our solar system. This would travel a lot faster and a lot quicker, further than Voyager 1 and 2, and certainly would travel many, many thousands of years into the future. So it might very, very, very on the small scale be intercepted by, you know, intelligent life forms, and it could be that invitation that brings them in. And I know some people will like that idea, some people will completely hate it, because, you know, just talking about this recently on the channel, someone said it's not a good idea. You could unwillingly welcome a warrior race of intelligent beings to our planet that would steal our planet for its literal resources. You know, and then there is the flip side of this, where they could come, share technologies with us, show us some things that are really important that we need to know about our planet and what we're doing with our planet, and you know, and help us. So there is that as well. But you know, it starts somewhere, doesn't it? It starts with an idea, and that idea gets put, you know, into an actual object, and then the object gets used, and you know, we just don't know. In this day and age, you know, as many things as we find out about our world and our solar system, there are equally, if not more, things we just don't know about it. And I find this little thing here that I've been building for the last couple of weeks, there's been many hours gone into it, and trust me, 3D printing these things, just half of this section has took 30 hours or so. Then you've got the actual tripod stand that it goes onto, and then there's the controller box, which you know, because if you switch this on at the moment, this is able to switch on. I might do a video a bit later on, because in the dark it looks quite impressive. If you switch this on at the moment, it won't modulate the laser, because the control box that goes with this, which is the next piece I'm building, does all the mixing and the modulating of the beam and encodes the data into the actual beam as it's being fired. So for our patrons, mid-May is when you get your message, 30 seconds sent free, and it will only be once, and then for anyone else that wants their message sent, I'll provide the website of ULM for you, which is the company that will be using this and marketing it and promoting it, and you'll be able to get your message sent there if that's something for you. I understand this is not going to be something particular for the younger generations, and the reason is because the younger generations think they're invincible and they're going to live forever in any case. So, you know, it might not be for them. They're not the sort under 30s, I don't think, to you know, show an interest in this. I think it's when you start getting over 30, you start realising that you are probably halfway through your life, and you know, you want to do something that makes it last a little bit. And I think, you know, this is a great little thing that can do that. You know, we can send your message out into space and it will last forever, as long as it doesn't come into contact with it, or it doesn't get intercepted by, you know, another species of intelligence. And yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. A lot of work went into it, and as you can imagine, the laser unit that we've got in there, you can't see it. Maybe you can see a couple of the LEDs down there. You can probably just see the front end of the laser through that hole, but maybe not. Came from America. It's class 3 laser, can cut steel. What else? It's air cooled. So, you know, there's a lot of technology that goes in just this part of the component, and then there is the other part of the component, which is the controller box, which really does all the technical side of it. So yeah, you know, I thought I'd share that with you. And of course, we're about a week away from, you know, getting back to business with the pole shift and looking at the latest location for the magnetic North Pole. And also I will be finishing 6 Clydra generators, if anyone's interested in them. I'm not going to give any sales spiel about them. They sell themselves, to be honest. If you know what Clydra silver is, and you know, you want to produce it yourself at a really cheap rate, it doesn't really cost. Once you've bought the generator, it costs you nothing to produce your own, or you can pay up to £15 for, you know, 100 grams of it online, as most people know about it. But I'm certainly not going to talk about the medical aspects of it. Do your research. You know, all I know is like a lot of things, you know, I'll put a lot of time and effort into making the best thing that I could possibly do, and I think we're on the Mark 6 version now of the Clydra silver generator, which allows people to adjust the attenuation of the voltage, and therefore give them the ability to create it a little bit quicker. But really the ultimate goal is dropping the voltage as low as possible and doing it slowly, but you've got that control switch on there where you can variable the voltage. And of course we use 10 gauge silver rods compared to the really thin ones that are on the market. I think the units that we build, although they're prototypes, look really cool. And of course this one now has got not just the air pump in there, which knocks the clinging Clydra silver on the rods off, but it also now has this cool blue LED light in there, so if it's in your kitchen on the evening, it looks really sexy, you know, in there. It looks like one of your mod cons in there. It looks really, you know, modern. So as opposed to some of the crude ugly Clydra silver generators that are available, I think it was about time someone really, you know, put a bit of time and effort and a bit of design effort into it, at least, to make it look good as well as do a functional job. So that's where we are. And of course all these things that I've done and put my time and effort into over the last few months are to raise money for the observatory myself. Hopefully, you know, if this does become really successful, then, you know, I won't have to ask for support again for the observatory, and we're trying to get those Clydra silver generators manufactured by a company and just market them, you know, so we could earn revenue off that. What I'm trying to focus this year, as I promised last year, was getting the observatory self-sustained. I'm just sick and tired, really, of asking people to support it, and I don't know whether it's COVID-19 or people have just lost interest in one of the rarest events that we're living through at the moment. But whichever is the case, it is disappointing when we need to buy stuff at the observatory to further, our network of equipment around the world, and you just can't do it simply because you haven't got the funds. Stops things dead in the tracks. And of course, if you've seen the comments section, you just get abused for asking for people's support. And this observatory was meant to be from day one a public observatory that was funded by the public. And there have been some really champion people that have supported the observatory to date and still continue to do on Patreon as well. But it has dropped. I get frustrated when I look on YouTube. I see, and we know why it is, of course. There's a lot of suppression of my channel because these organisations and government authorities and whoever else there may be don't want people like me, individuals, building observatories, and at some points, as we have done, if you've followed me, coming out with information before the organisations that are responsible for it are supposed to do, and they'd hate it. And that data that we produce is bespoke. It's not, you're not getting this from any of the organisations, not from NASA, NOAA, or the ESA. They will not reveal a lot of the magnetic information that they collect. And you have to ask that question: why can we get all this information on all the other aspects and anomalies around the world, but not on the magnetic poles reversing? Why not? Is there something really that they know is going to be disastrous? Is it? But if not, then why not just tell people and show people what data they've collected? They've used, after all, taxpayers' money. So anyhow, I'm not going to go on too much longer in this video. I will mention the fact that there is a link down there if you want to help support us. If you're interested in sending a message, I'll give you the date when the actual product and the website's finished and the launch for the product is ready. I'll give you the website for that. And if you are interested in a Clydril silver generator, there's only 6 that will be sold this time round. Not sure if I'm going to do another batch of them because I just get bored of making them. I've made that many now. I really do get bored of making them, and they take 13 hours to print on the 3D printer as well. That's another thing. I really do want to encourage a manufacturer to do, make them for me if I can, and then it's easy for me just to go, there they are on the website, go and buy them if you want. And and it's all, like I say, to help fund the observatory. So that's what we've been up to over the last couple of weeks. And the reason why I showed you the laser is because I know a lot of you are interested in the things that we build. You like to see what we're doing. I might at some point just show you some of the CAD work that went into this computer-aided design. Not only does it take a long time to print off on the 3D printer, and you need to know what you're doing with those, it also takes a long time on the CAD as well. Don't forget, these components have to fit together. They also have to work and provide the function that you designed them to do. So there's a lot of work that goes on in the background. It's very easy for me to just lift this up and show you, the finished product. But when you realise what goes in the making of this, then you appreciate it a little bit more. So I might show you some of the CAD work, some of the electronic components that went into it, and definitely I want to show you it's set up on the tripod, all working. And a simple message will transmit out there. So guys, links down there if you want to help support the observatory, some of the things that we're getting involved with. We are trying to help ourselves there as well, so we're not begging like a lot of people say. And the only other thing to say is you have a great day today, and as always, bye for now.